Pocket Pair has been hard at work, and today we just got Steam patch version 0.1.4.0, bringing a ton of fixes that we so very much needed. Now, the Xbox patch version 0.1.1.3 has not been released yet, but it will be released as soon as it is ready. So all of the patch notes that we're going to be covering in this video are Steam-specific related. Now, we do have quite a few major fixes here, some of which I'm sure you will have all been plagued by, and it's really great to see how diligent Pocket Pair is being with pushing out these updates as quick as possible. Now, we do have fixes to major issues, key configuration, player issues, and base issues, and a few other ones as well. Now, for our major fixes, they fixed an issue where the game would crash under certain conditions. I know a lot of people have been reporting random crashes, and hopefully this will alleviate a lot of those. They also fixed an issue where if another player's PAL or base PAL had HP 30% or less, it could be captured by using a sphere. That's a pretty big one. I didn't know that one existed. I imagine that was happening a lot on official servers. I definitely don't think that was intended. I do remember people talking about when the game first released about the possibility of stealing other players' PALs, but I feel like that would be a pretty terrible addition to the game. I don't know if that's going to come in PvP, I sure hope not. Regardless, if you did ever have any of your PALs stolen from you and maybe you stopped playing because of it, that's fixed and it wasn't supposed to be a thing. They also fixed an issue where enemy PALs would get stuck in walls due to charge attacks. This one was incredibly frustrating, especially when it was a PAL or something that you were really excited to catch. It charged at you and got stuck inside of a wall. Oh my god, I've had that happen so many times. It was incredibly frustrating. Well, they also implemented the fix for an issue where the game would always crash and save data would be corrupted when the guild's total number of PALs captured reached around 7,000. That is absolutely terrible, especially after catching 7,000 PALs. The game no longer crashes even if the total number of captured objects exceeds 7,000. However, save data that has already been in this state, in the case of a server, the server's world data, prior to this update will still be unable to load. We're continuing to work on fixing this issue permanently. So it seems like there may still be some issues around all of this. Unfortunately, this does not mean that your save data will be recoverable at this point. I don't know if they will implement something in the future that will fix this. Hopefully they do. We'll have to wait and see. They also added support for mouse side keys and numeric keypad in the keyboard configuration. Further improvements are currently planned, such as support for interact key configurations, which I am actually really excited for. There's actually one fix in here that's going to help a lot of people with the key configuration, and I can't wait to be able to customize that for myself. We do have a few player issue fixes here as well. They fixed an issue where players on dedicated servers and co-op online were receiving damage twice. I've seen this happen. I've been clapped so hard out of nowhere, and apparently I didn't know I was taking damage twice, but that would completely explain why I was dying so easily in random situations. So if you've ever experienced that, that is fixed. Specifications have been changed so that you can move at extremely low speed even when you have exceeded the weight limit. We're going to be moving at a snail's pace, but it's kind of nice to at least be able to move, even just a tiny bit. There's nothing worse than using the grappling hook and being like a centimeter away from the box and either having to drop stuff or use the grappling hook again, so at least this will solve that problem. Players will now no longer be able to pass through walls when dismounting. That would happen a lot inside of caves, especially if you're trying to use a flying mount inside of a cave. It became a big issue. I've fallen through the world a few times trying to do that. Fixed an issue where capture power strengthened by Liftmonk effigies was reset using memory reset drugs. This was a big one. I've been trying to warn people of this as much as possible. I'm assuming if it did break you before, it's going to be fixed now, which is very nice. So if you're worried about resetting your stats or wanting to reset your stats, you are completely free to do so now without losing any of your Liftmonk effigies. This is a pretty solid change because all of my characters have needed their stats reset for a long time, and I'm sure many of you out there have needed to as well. They also fixed an issue where armor could be equipped in the wrong slots. I knew this one was going to be fixed ASAP, so you can no longer stack all of the different armor types in your character. You're going to actually have to plan stuff now. We all should have seen this one coming. And they also adjusted camera positions of several PALs to make it easier to see when mounted. This is an absolute amazing one. I'm assuming this is definitely going to be a fix to Jetragon, or Jetragon, or however you pronounce that thing's name. The camera for Jetragon definitely seems to be quite a bit better now. The real question is the aerial missile going to be better? And yes, it is. The aerial missile is actually usable now. Oh my god. Before it would actually like put the camera inside of the body. It was pretty terrible. This thing is 100% usable now. So if you've had any issues with the camera before, they're all going to be fixed now. These stupid explodey Tokos, get out of here. Now we have a lot of fixes to base issues. This is where a lot of the exciting stuff is. So we have specifications have changed so that pals who are manually assigned to a breeding farm will not become hungry, and their manual assignments will not be removed. This is amazing. There were so many issues with the breeding pens where things would just randomly unassign themselves, and quite frankly, when they're eating all that cake anyways, they really shouldn't be getting hungry. So this is a perfect fix. The next one is probably one of my most excited fixes, which is the key to lift pals have been changed from F to V, or from X to Y with a controller, in order to prevent accidents. There have been so many times when you're trying to interact with something and instead you lift up a random pal. It got really frustrating, especially once you have 15 pals in your base. This is a pretty awesome change, and until we can actually manually assign our own key configurations, this is a pretty good fix for now. Now, they've also reduced the speed and range of fire spreading on wooden buildings, which is great. The wooden buildings are fun to build with, and it's kind of depressing when everything gets caught on fire and everything disappears. They also fixed an issue where manual work assignments could not be set at all under certain circumstances. This would happen a lot, so it's really great to see all these base fixes. There was also an issue where extremely high level Relaxaurus would attack the base during raids. Thank God that doesn't happen anymore. They also added several measures to prevent base pals from getting stuck. Thank you, Jesus. So some of the AI pathfinding has been improved there. We'll have to actually find out just how much it has been improved. They also fixed an issue where pals would get stuck while transporting items and would drop them on the spot. That would happen a lot. I started seeing this bug the more pals that I had in the base trying to transport items. So hopefully the transportation of items from like ore mining and things like that is going to be drastically improved now. They also fixed an issue where pals at base would continue to cut down trees that were already cut. I've seen that happen a few times. There was also an issue where pals at the base were on the verge of death due to unexplained falling damage. That wasn't unexplained. I've seen them get launched in the air after teleporting to base multiple times. It was an issue with where the pals thought their like X-axis or Y-axis was placed, and they would just get placed in the freaking sky randomly, and they would fall to their death. Quite literally. Fixed an issue where pals at base would float under some conditions, would see that happen a lot. And they also fixed an issue where if a farm was built on the second floor or above, work pals would be unable to move on the floors below. So this is actually a pretty great fix. There's a lot of amazing fixes here. This means you can actually build multi-story bases now, and actually the pathfinding will work. I want to experiment with this a lot because building vertically could really change the game quite a bit for a lot of different things. So corrected incorrect text. I'm assuming this is related to some of the badly translated skills. Measures have been added to prevent cheating and stealing other players' pals. That's fantastic. And many other minor fixes, such as the addition of a UI key guide. And at the bottom of this, they say, we will continue development, placing top priority on fixing major problems and issues. Thank you for your continued support of Palworld. I do love that they are focusing directly and only on fixing the game as it is now. There's plenty of content to come for the future of Palworld, but making sure that the game runs perfectly now before adding anything later is really important. You see a lot of games, Ark, where they add lots of content but don't fix all the broken things, and they end up with a really big broken mess at the end. And it looks like Pocket Pair is doing everything the right way so far. Let me know what you all think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.